in a large number of the federal budget.
Survivors are going to get tens of thousands of dollars.
Hold on a second.
So why did you lie just now?
No, what I'm saying is this. I'm putting the point in this. When people are talking of money in the billions of dollars,
but you screwed up.
She made the point that it was $750 a family. It might end up being
on the first day.
Brian, I'm not saying money will not reach it. I'm saying what the political reality is. People in North Carolina are upset. They see tons of money going elsewhere, and there isn't an immediate reaction from the federal government. That's all I'm saying.
There's not an immediate reaction?
It's not
FEMA's
big
been there
enough
for a
for
week.
what's going on. It happened 5 days ago. We should have helicopters in the sky of the United States
They've
military.
been there. They've been there for several days now.
Brian, that is completely not the story that people are hearing.
You're right that what people are seeing on social media is false. You're absolutely right that the lies on social media are distorting people's minds. That's true.
We have countless people missing, okay? There is billions of dollars going to every which way to like I said, migrants, and this is fine. We can have the debate about all those separate
richest country on earth.
What I am saying is, when a disaster like this happens, the response needs to be immediate and overwhelming.
And you're saying it hasn't been.
People do not
so you're alleging
feel
the government's been incompetent.
No, I'm not.
Okay, but can we?
I'm not trying to tell you that no one cares about this situation. Everyone cares.
But hang on for a second.
I'm just talking about the immediacy.
Hang on for a second, because the $750, I actually looked into this because it's being pushed. That's what they get immediately. That is something for someone, a family that has absolutely nothing. That is what they're able to get. People are seizing on what Harris said. That's not actually a reality. That's all they're going to get. But the point of this overall is that the federal government is there. I mean, you just heard from every Republican governor. Brian Kemp also said it as well. We played his comments the other day that they are getting overwhelming help from the federal government here. So that's actually the issue, is that it's not as if they're not there. I think the first people to call out the federal government if they don't show up would be the media as well.
Yes.
We've seen what happened with Hurricane Katrina.
And the Republican local officials who are actually saying, don't believe the lies on the internet. I think what frustrates me, Caitlin, is we're seeing the best of humanity in the Carolinas and Georgia. We're seeing the worst of humanity on the internet. I made a list of some of the lies, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene claiming Democrats can control the weather and try to hurt Republicans by sending storms their way. Influencers saying FEMA spent all the hurricane relief money on immigrants. It's a lie. Others are claiming FEMA is stealing supplies, that corporations are kicking people out of their homes and confiscating property. Corporations are doing this. The death toll is being covered up. Helicopters are being banned from landing in relief zones. All of these are lies that are spreading on social media, and it's very hard to negate these lies with the truth.
There is an inconceivable amount of disinformation online surrounding the hurricane and the response to it, so let's get to the facts. First off, the most pervasive, that the government has no money left for disaster relief because it was spent housing migrants. Categorically false. The money that DHS spends on housing migrants is completely separate from the disaster relief fund used by FEMA. No money is used from disaster relief to house migrants. Those are two completely separate buckets, and the money in both programs, by the way, was allocated by Congress, which Republicans control. FEMA has also posted on its website that it has, quote, enough money right now for immediate response and recovery needs. If you were affected by Helene, do not hesitate to apply for disaster assistance, as there is a variety of help available for different needs. So when Republicans claim that there's no money left because the migrants took it, that is an outright lie. In fact, it's especially dangerous because people might hear that there's no money and think that there's no reason to even apply for disaster relief. If you need it, apply for it. It is there. Do not listen to purveyors of disinformation. Republicans are also claiming that FEMA gave people $750 and called it a day. $750 is the first grant given by FEMA. It's intended to get you money immediately so that you have instant cash to buy necessities, food, drinks, diapers, formula, toiletries, medicine. The amount is the same for everyone. It's also an increase, by the way, from the $500 of initial funds that was distributed during the Trump administration. From there, FEMA is meeting with those impacted on an individual basis to determine how much to allocate for repair costs, which can go up to a maximum of $42,500. The Biden-Harris administration also approved a 100% federal cost share for emergency response activities in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. They've approved major disaster declarations for Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and Tennessee. They've directed the Defense Department to deploy up to 1,000 active duty soldiers to support response efforts. In all, more than 5,300 federal personnel are on the ground supporting the response. More than $20 million in individual assistance has been provided to the thousands of survivors. FEMA has shipped over 9.3 million meals meals, 11 million liters of water, 260,000 tarps, and 150 generators. All of which is to say, the notion that the government isn't responding is a lie, peddled by people who are looking to help themselves politically. Now Republicans are claiming that these are just the last-ditch efforts to respond to criticism. FEMA has been in these states since even before the storm hit. Of his call with Biden, Republican Georgia Governor Brian Kemp said, and I told him, you know, we got what we need. We will work through the federal process. He offered that if there's other things we need, just to call him directly, which I appreciate that. But we've had FEMA embedded with us since, you know, a day or two before the storm hit. A day or two before the storm hit. In fact, there's a raft of Republican officials heaping praise onto the federal government.
I just spoke, the president just called me yesterday afternoon. I missed him and called him right back. And he just said, hey, what do you need? And I told him, you know, we got what we need. We'll work through the federal process. He offered that if there's other things we need, just to call him directly, which I appreciate that.
We have been, Sean, I have to say, working well with FEMA. They, in fact, were moving very quickly over the last few days for us, and getting these resources has been critically important.
I'm incredibly appreciative of the rapid response and the cooperation from the federal team at FEMA. I've been on the phone over the weekends with the senior FEMA administrator. The team has been deployed. We had our declaration of emergency processed in an expedited way over the weekend and was finalized yesterday.
I too want to thank the entire team. I mean, our communities, our citizens in the communities are certainly very resilient, as the governor stated. Our private partners, volunteers, I mean, obviously our local, our state, and our government and our federal government all working together. Just a lot of hard work going on just across the state. This storm left a tremendous amount of devastation, but the response efforts by all involved have been phenomenal.
In fact, the people who are spreading the disinformation are people who stand to benefit politically by causing turmoil, like Donald Trump.
Think of it. People are dying in North Carolina. They're dying all over those 5-6 states. They're dying, and they're getting no help from our federal government because they have no money, because their money's been spent on people that should not be in our country.
Because he figures that bad news for Biden and Harris is good news for him. This is solely politics. Or someone like Elon Musk, who spent days elevating every ounce of unvetted information, like this tweet suggesting that, again, the Homeland Security Secretary said that FEMA is out of money because it spent it on migrants, which, again, is categorically false. The same Elon who is today at a rally with Donald Trump. I wonder if there's some link between the guy spreading lies about Biden and Harris and also campaigning with Donald Trump. Truly one of life's great mysteries. Or someone like Matt Gaetz, who one day before Hurricane Helene, by the way, voted against a stopgap spending bill along with other Republicans to deny extra funding to FEMA. And that's to say nothing of Project 2025, which calls for slashing FEMA funding, privatizing weather forecasting, and leaving us wholly unprepared for the same types of storms that they are currently pretending to care about. They'll talk the talk, but not walk the walk. The truth is that bad faith politicians and Republican mouthpieces are exploiting a serious tragedy to help themselves politically. They are making up lies and spreading them through big accounts like Elon Musk's because they want Trump to win the election. It doesn't matter if they convince people not to apply for disaster relief because they heard that it was all gone. Their priority isn't the people impacted by the storm. Their priority is Trump winning the election. Another point worth making here is that this is but a preview of what to expect when Trump cries fraud next month and declares himself the winner before the votes are even all in. The sheer amount of disinformation surrounding this storm, an avalanche of lies so pervasive that FEMA literally had to create a webpage debunking rumors, will pale in comparison to what the right will do surrounding the election. This is a test case. This is child's play compared to what we will see. Simply put, we are not prepared to deal with the amount of disinformation and misinformation that we're being subjected to right now. Republicans have an entire media apparatus built up to spread it. So let this serve as a warning. They will lie about the election like they're lying about this hurricane. They will sacrifice our democracy just like they're exploiting a tragedy. Nothing is sacred to these people other than the consolidation of power for themselves. Before you go, just a quick note, if you'd like to see more of my content, which is always free of advertising, sponsorships, and paywalls, please make sure to subscribe to this channel using the subscribe button right here on the screen. And if you'd like to support my work even further, you can grab a copy of my instant #1 New York Times selling book, Shameless, available for sale right now. That link is also on the screen. Thanks so much for watching.